Imagine going back 100,000 years. You walk through a valley and see another human. But something feels different. They look like us, they walk like us, they use tools, they make fire. They can hunt, communicate, and survive. But they're not Homo sapiens. They're another human species. And here's the strangest part. You wouldn't be the only type of human on Earth. For most of human history, we weren't alone. There were Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis, and several other ancient human groups that once lived across different parts of the planet. Today, they're gone. Every living human belongs to just one species, Homo sapiens. So what happened? Why are we the only humans left? And was it because we were simply better? The answer is much stranger than that. Let's start with the humans everyone has heard of, the Neanderthals. For hundreds of thousands of years, they lived across Europe and parts of Asia. They weren't primitive movie cavemen. They were highly adapted humans. Their bodies were built for cold environments, and they survived through some of the harshest conditions of the Ice Age. They made tools, they hunted, they controlled fire, and they lived alongside other humans. Then, around the time modern humans expanded out of Africa, something incredible happened. We met them. Imagine the scene, two different kinds of humans encountering each other for the first time. And apparently, they didn't always fight. Sometimes they had children together. Today, many people whose ancestry comes from outside Africa carry roughly 2 to 3% Neanderthal ancestry. So here's the first twist. The Neanderthals didn't completely disappear. Part of them is still inside us. But then there were the Denisovans, and these humans are even stranger. For a long time, scientists barely knew they existed. The first major Denisovan discovery came from a tiny finger bone and a couple of teeth found in Denisova Cave in Siberia. That's it. No giant civilization, no huge collection of fossils, just a few pieces of bone. But scientists extracted DNA from them, and suddenly an entirely different branch of the human family tree appeared. Denisovans were closely related to Neanderthals, but different from them, and they also met Homo sapiens. Some modern populations, especially in parts of Oceania, carry significant Denisovan ancestry. So again, these ancient humans didn't simply vanish without leaving anything behind. They left pieces of themselves in us. And this is where the story gets crazy, because the human family tree wasn't a straight line. It was more like a massive, tangled forest. Different human species appeared. Some migrated, some disappeared, some overlapped, some exchanged genes, and some may have lived at the same time in the same places. Scientists have identified many different early human species and populations, including Homo erectus, Homo heidelbergensis, Homo naledi, Homo floresiensis, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and others. But eventually, one branch was left: us. So what made Homo sapiens different? Here's where we need to be careful. There isn't one simple answer. Scientists still debate exactly why Neanderthals and other human populations disappeared. Climate change may have played a role. Competition for resources may have mattered. Population size and isolation may have made some groups more vulnerable. And interactions with expanding Homo sapiens may also have contributed. There probably wasn't one dramatic day when one species defeated another. Instead, it may have been thousands of years of small advantages adding up. Think about it. If two human groups need the same food, the same shelter, the same hunting grounds, and one population can survive slightly better during difficult periods, even a small difference can become enormous over generations. But there's another advantage humans have always had: cooperation. One person discovers something useful, another remembers it, someone teaches it to their children. The next generation improves it. Then someone else carries that knowledge somewhere new. The knowledge doesn't die with the person who discovered it. It spreads. And that creates something incredibly powerful. A single human might be weak, but thousands of humans sharing knowledge can become something much more powerful. A group that can cooperate, Communicate, adapt, and learn from previous generations doesn't have to start from zero every time. And Homo sapiens became extraordinarily good at this. Our species appeared in Africa at least around 300,000 years ago. Eventually, populations expanded across the planet, entering environments from deserts to forests to Ice Age Europe. And wherever humans went, they brought something with them. Not just weapons, not just fire, information. But here's the twist. Maybe the biggest misconception is that Homo sapiens simply defeated everyone else. Because that's not what the evidence suggests. We didn't just replace other humans, we sometimes mixed with them. Their genes became part of ours. Their populations disappeared as distinct groups, but parts of their genetic legacy survived inside the humans who remained. So when you look at a modern human today, you're not looking at a completely untouched Homo sapiens. You're looking at the result of a very complicated history, thousands of generations of migration, adaptation, competition, cooperation, and interbreeding. A history involving humans who no longer exist as separate species. And that leads to one final question. If Neanderthals were intelligent, if Denisovans survived for thousands of generations, if other human species were capable of adapting to their environments, why are we the ones still here? Maybe there wasn't a single superpower that made us survive. Maybe it was the combination. A slightly larger population here, a useful mutation there, better connections between groups, more successful adaptation to changing environments, more knowledge passed between generations, and sometimes just luck. Because evolution doesn't choose the strongest species, it doesn't choose the smartest species, it doesn't even have a plan. It simply leaves behind the populations that manage to survive and reproduce. And somehow, through an incredibly complicated chain of events, that branch was us. Today, billions of humans live across one planet. We look different. We speak different languages. We live in completely different environments. But biologically, we're all the same species, Homo sapiens. And somewhere deep inside some of us are genetic traces of the humans who once shared this planet with us. The Neanderthals, the Denisovans, and perhaps other ancient populations we'll only discover in the future. So maybe the real question isn't, why are we the only humans left? Maybe it's, how many humans are still with us without us even realizing it? Because the other humans may have disappeared, but their story didn't. It became part of ours.